everyone, welcome back to Flano channel where you can access the latest US news.
Andrew Yang tweet, 7% in California in the fourth place must have been the crowd surfing. So obviously, Yang is ahead of Shania Harris in her home state. I think he's a top-tier candidate now. And he announced the good news on Instagram Live.
New poll had us out at 7% in the great state of California, so thank you, California. We're in fourth place. Generally speaking, you would say objectively we're in sixth place right now, but we have a big up arrow attached to us. We're going all the way up to the right.
Now I will show you the video of Saga Injustice and listen to him explain why Andrew Yang is beating Kamala Harris.
Yesterday, Crystal and I talked about the New York Times slamming of Andrew Yang. For those of you who didn't see it, the Times basically accused Andrew of betraying the Asian American community because he refused to push for the professional and personal cancellation of comedian Shane Gillis. Gillis said terrible things about Andrew and other Asian Americans, and now he has been fired by SNL. Yang tweeted before Gillis' firing, he did not at all think that Gillis should lose his job, and he did something that very few people in the Democratic Party or the media have urged in recent years. He urged forgiveness and understanding. After Gillis' firing, he said he would meet with Gillis at his request, who presumably wanted to apologize. How is it that a New York businessman spouting some pretty radical ideas is far and above all of his colleagues in the most important realm that matters for a presidential candidate, humanity? Andrew Yang's instinct to forgive Shane Gillis and work towards understanding and penance is the only way America can survive the 21st century. I say this as someone who has also been a victim of anti-Asian racism. We are a multi-ethnic, multi-racial, multi-religious society of varying ages, geography, and experience. It is a goddamn miracle that any of us exist within the same polity at the same time. The only way our democracy can function is through as a mutual desire to move forward, build things, break things, and rule through consensus. So much of elite democratic politics today is predicated on the idea that every single person who voted for Donald Trump is racist, bigoted, homophobe, who barely deserves citizenship of this country. We've seen periods in our history where we operate that way before. It ends bloody and it well for pretty much nobody. Perhaps that is why Andrew is currently polling above Senator Kamala Harris in her own home state of California in the latest Emerson poll of the state. The Democratic presidential race is basically a three-way tie. You have Elizabeth Warren for the college-educated, Bernie Sanders for the progressive working class and young people, and Joe Biden for, well, everybody else. That doesn't leave much space for a Biden-light or a Bernie-light candidate that are on the rest of the stage. The relentless positivity of Andrew Yang is something I want to go out of my way to highlight because it seems just so lost from our politics today. If you accept the liberal premise that society is truly irredeemable and that all of us are walking around that are microaggressed and misunderstood, then shunning and screaming at those who are harming you is the opposite of what we should be doing. Instead of poll-tested sound bites and grievance politics, Andrew Yang is trying something new and original. Look, I have a hell of a lot of questions about UBI, and full disclosure, I don't think it's going to work that well. But the man is onto something. I think it has a lot less to do with UBI, and instead a recognition of the rapidly changing pace of American life and what that might mean for all of us. How refreshing to see a presidential candidate actually talking about these issues without indulging in so many of these woke shibboleths that we see from Elizabeth Warren and even from Bernie Sanders from time to time. And Crystal, I just wanted to take the time to highlight Yang and his want of forgiveness and of his positivity, because it just seems so lost from our politics today. And I think that's why so many people are excited about it.
Yeah, and it comes from a very authentic place. I mean, one of the things that stands out about him when he's on the debate stage with all the other candidates is he's got a sense of humor.
Yeah.
You know, he doesn't take himself too seriously, and I think that's incredibly refreshing. You hit on something that is one of my core frustrations with a certain portion of the Democratic Party, which, as you know, I've done a lot of work in West Virginia. I've lived in Kentucky, and whenever I post something about what people are going through there, which are, you know, these are states that have many races represented,
Sure.
but they're predominantly white states, right? And whenever I post something about struggles for workers there, I inevitably get back basically, screw those people, they voted for Trump.
Yeah.
Who cares? And I did not personally sign up to be part of a party that picks and chooses which people are worthy of support, are worthy of friendship, are worthy of being allies. And I did not sign up for a party to pick and choose which part of the working class they were going to fight for. So it's one of, to me, the most troubling and disturbing trends in the Democratic Party, that direction that some parts have gone in.
Absolutely.
So it's time to break Biden-Sanders Warren's policy known as stated privilege. It's what happens soon. These three people will be like a deer in front of a hungry lion if any of them is going to deal with them. Say no to three career politicians to be nominees. I'm quite proud of Jiang for polling higher than Harris in her own home state, even after she egotistically laughed at him during the debates and only offered empty platitudes and cringeworthy. Go back to watching Fox News Trump. God, she's an awful candidate. The other candidates complain about Trump too much. Andrew Yang focused on the issue and understand why Trump won in the first place. Now we'll show you a picture. In 2092 election, Democratic primaries. In the first half of 1991, Bill Clinton was the tie for the 11th place out of the 18 candidates. He polled at 1.3%. In the second half of 1991, Bill Clinton's polling improved dramatically to 7.4%, putting him in the fourth place. In 1992, he won the Democratic primary. So that is the reason why I love Jiang so much. He has a lot of policies. I just love how he always focuses on being positive and talking about what matters, whether it is from left or right. Whenever he gets this loaded negative question, he never gives in. That's why he's such a force to be reckoned with. He go on Fox News all the time, and he should, or the Democrats should. It's not about Fox News, it is about American, and then watch in the good faith. I also love Bernier, but he's more a storyteller with a great message than a conversationalist. Jiang is a conversationalist. He's on topic and positive in his communication, which is why he is supported by so many Americans across political spectrum. Check YouTube video. Even his interview with Tucker Carlson, Ben Shapiro, and Ray Rabin, the entire YouTube comment section is united. That's why this race is not over yet. There is a tweet of GUMD. My parents, who are always not very political, absolutely love you, and so do many their friends who aren't very political either. Andrew Yang is a huge sensation in the Asian American community, because he defies our long-held belief that we have no say in America. How is Andrew Yang going to win the nomination if he jumps on the bandwagon and calls the Donald Trump names and talk about lots of other nasty things about the Republican Party? He's pulling a lot of conversation like myself and others, because he doesn't make fun of them, but instead make them feel welcome to join Jiang Gang. Because it's not Jiang who is like this. The rest of Jiang Gang is loving, unlike lots of other damn supporters. When people join the Jiang Gang, all of a sudden, people feel hope and peace and spread that possibility to others, even Trump supporters. That his candidate will receive a lot of bipartisan support, especially in the way his policies are implemented. Glad to be part of Jiang Gang. Thank you to watch this episode. See you in the next video. Bye bye.
Democratic Party was the party of the working class, the little guy or gal. We need to get back to that. I can't tell you how much credit Donald Trump got just for calling out the pain that many of these communities are in. And so if the Democratic Party stops condescending and says, look, we're here to actually work on solving your problems, we can go very, very far with many of the people who voted for Donald Trump.
Is this because of identity politics?
Well, so I'm the son of immigrants. I understand the impulse behind identity politics, but Democrats have to know that identity politics is a very poor way to approach winning national elections, and it's a very poor way to bring our country together. We have to enact solutions that will help all Americans. And when Martin Luther King championed a guaranteed minimum income in the 60s, which is almost exactly like my freedom dividend, he